All right, everybody. John here, back again. Crypto Top 10. Talk to you about some of the trending articles in the crypto news space. As always, off the top, thanks to everyone who has subscribed. I really do appreciate it. And there's a link down in the description that you can follow to check out everything we've talked about today. And as a side note, I do apologize if you hear any surreptitious beeps or boops. I'll try to edit them out as best I can. But this baby monitor is annoying as hell. So let's hop on in and talk about some stuff. So there is a Bitcoin Cash hard fork coming up on November the 15th, and people seem to be scrambling to get their coins onto exchanges for it. According to Chainalysis, nearly $140 million worth of Bitcoin Cash has flowed onto exchanges just in the past week, bringing November's total up to $300 million since the start of the month, with more than 1.56 million BCH being moved onto them. So as such, these inflows to exchanges in the past 12 days have equated to nearly 6.4% of Bitcoin Cash's entire capitalization and supply, which is pretty darn crazy. Yeah. So despite the fact people seem to think that it might be indicative that people are getting ready to sell after the fork, I'm sure plenty of people will. A lot of other people are probably just moving it onto exchanges because exchanges support these hard forks typically, so it's easier for them because you don't have to worry about updating or doing all that stuff yourself. But the November 15 hard fork is expected to usher in the dominance of what is called the Bitcoin Cash node, which is a community-driven implementation of BCH that emerged as internal tensions within Bitcoin Cash escalated throughout the year. Basically, back in October, Amaury Sachet, lead developer of Bitcoin Cash's historically dominant implementation, Bitcoin ABC, announced that the protocol's scheduled November upgrade would include what is called a Coinbase rule. It would require miners to divert 8% of newly minted Bitcoin Cash to a development treasury under his control. Now, I like the idea of development treasuries. It allows people to pay the developers who are actually implementing these upgrades on the network. So I like it, but not when it's under the control of one guy. Basically, if you could set that up and then have users who hold the coin vote on what developers they want to support and what implementations they want to push for, that's one thing. This is totally another. So this Bitcoin Cash node implementation quickly emerged, which pledged to maintain the Bitcoin Cash protocol without forcing miners to sponsor development. Nodes running BCHN have mined 83.6% of Bitcoin Cash blocks in the last 7 days, suggesting that Bitcoin Cash's future is firmly in the hands of BCHN, or the Bitcoin Cash node. What remains to be seen is who will end up getting the BCH ticker symbol, probably Bitcoin Cash node. If I'm Amaury at this point, I would take the split, sell off all my coins, and just walk away with whatever money I got and leave Bitcoin Cash behind. Yeah, so interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. Only 3 days to go. I expect it's going to be messy, like a middle school dance. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Hopping on over, Andre Cronje, we just talked about Yearn yesterday, but now he's back in the news with something else. So he's caused a bit of hype around a new project after he called the HEGIC protocol, which was created by anonymous developer Molly Wintermutt, amazing technology. Since Cronje's endorsement, the price of HEGIC has skyrocketed. It is an on-chain peer-to-peer protocol that allows users to trade options on Ethereum. It's similar to Uniswap. It's an automated market maker, no KYC, no intermediaries, and no centralized entities. Users can also participate as a liquidity provider to earn settlement fees. The native token of the protocol is HEGIC, and it was launched on September 9th. So it's a couple months old, better than the normal DeFi route of being less than a week old. So about 3 days ago, Cronje announced that together with the developer of HEGIC, they created a method to trade options for any Uniswap trading pair to form generic call and put options. Since then, HEGIC's price has made significant gains and recorded a 200% year-to-date performance. Not too bad for them. Andre throwing his weight behind a protocol is definitely a good way to get something to spike. However, do want to point out there is some pushback and criticism to this, mostly in the form of Twitter handle War on Rugs. Yeah, that's right, War on Rugs. So they monitor cryptos to rate their potential to have a rug pull, i.e. a cash out and running off of funds, a la, Sushi Swap. So the rug pulls monitor War on Rugs. They have published a warning because HEGIC supplies about $3 billion and it's completely uninsured. This means it's vulnerable to being dumped on the market, and the monitor further warns that the probability of this happening is high. But Andre Cronje's participation in the project has probably prevented the platform from calling it a scam outright, just giving it a high rating. However, they did say the activity related to HEGIC seems solid. So take that as you will. As always, crypto is incredibly risky. I'm not comfortable with pulling any money into HEGIC right now, but if you are, that is your thing. Especially with Cronje's endorsement, it seems like it could be big. But hey, let's hop on over. We got a twofer on Ethereum. A couple problems which could be affecting its price and its outlook for the rest of the year. So the first part is going to be about Ethereum's 2.0 upgrade, which is scheduled to begin on December the 1st. But so far, just 10% of the required Ethereum has been staked, implying that the upgrade won't happen on schedule. The way they had done it, stated before, was once they hit that amount, it would start on December 1st. If it didn't start on the 1st, it would start 7 days after it was hit. So if it started on the 2nd, the 8th, started on the 3rd, the 10th, the 8th would be the 9th, whatever. But yeah, so right now the only option to do staking is to run your own Ethereum 2.0 node. It is easier than setting up a mining rig, but it's a little intimidating for many normal users. The reason users would now have to run their own nodes in order to stake is, many platforms that normally provide these nodes, like StakeWise, Rocket Pool, I think Liquid Stake, a lot aren't up and running. Liquid Stake is, but the majority aren't. So to trigger Ethereum's 2.0's genesis, they need 524,288 Ethereum staked on the network, split between 16,384 stakers. Those are the minimum requirements, which is why it's such a tall order. According to Kirill Kutov, co-founder of StakeWise, there are plenty of technical details to work out to ensure the platform is safe to use. Clients, audits, adapting and waiting for Ethereum 2.0 specification changes, that type of stuff. Those currently staking Ethereum are those capable or confident in running their own node. These people are well aware of the risks and have significant capital, so they can approach Genesis very cautiously. If you have sweated and scrimped and saved to get to 32 and you have 32 or 33 Ethereum, you're probably not going to want to risk all of it on a Genesis node. And that's completely understandable. On Twitter, Ethereum 2.0 researcher Justin Drake created a poll where 50% of nearly 3,600 respondents, which he's a Ethereum 2.0 researcher with a decent following, interested in crypto, so I would feel this is an accurate representation of the space, but 50% of the 3,600 respondents said that they did not intend to stake on Ethereum, and only a handful said they plan to. 50% said no, 17% said yes, and 4% had already deposited. So there's still a decent amount of hesitation. Again, the money that it costs is a big issue. Another issue is that the funds will be locked up for at least 2 years. So staking is for people who are completely sold on the future and have no immediate need for any of the funds. I could see a lot of people, again, you scrimp, you save, you get to 33, 34 Ethereum, you stake your 32. Ethereum shoots up to $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a coin, and you can't cash it out. Think about that. You spent $14,600 roughly to get your 32 Ethereum. It hits $10,000 a coin, so $320,000, which if you were to cash out after you paid 33% taxes on it, you would still have enough money to buy a decent sized house in the Midwest. I can see a lot of people being very hesitant to lock up their funds for that long. Other comments on Drake's Twitter poll demonstrate how the technical understanding necessary to stake is also kind of out of reach for a lot of people. I would argue that is a big thing. If you do not have any experience doing or setting up nodes, why are you going to want to start with a $14,000 node? It's going to put a lot of hesitation on users, and I can see that being a problem as we go forward. On top of that, we talked yesterday about Ethereum's unannounced hard fork. So in a bit of a Homer Simpson dope moment, it was caused by a latent bug in the Ethereum code, which we talked about. It was caused a split from the code change. It was inserted into a previous Geth update. Some Ethereum node operators ignored it, which ironically, the update was meant to prevent the very problem that it caused. So, the nodes that did not upgrade were under the impression that the update was minor and did not know it was included a change to Ethereum's consensus design. So at first, it was an apparent issue with Infura, which is a consensus-run server. But that Infura system keeps the majority of decentralized finance apps synced to the Ethereum network. Yeah, so it caused a lot of problems. Binance halted trading because they noticed conflicting transactions on their nodes. Other exchanges suspended trading. So the bug in the Go Ethereum Geth client, whose code underpins 80% of Ethereum's applications, had split the blockchain in two. With these two conflicting histories, Ethereum users were temporarily interacting with different versions of the Ethereum blockchain. More than causing delays, it put users' funds at risk, and it knocked out the majority of Ethereum DeFi's applications in just a few hours. So yeah, Infura has fixed the issues, and the other service providers that have been affected are also doing the same by updating their nodes. But some Ethereum users and wallet providers were also affected depending on their code status. So this is a bit of a fiasco right now, and it's got people challenging Ethereum's perceived decentralization, and stakeholders are wondering why the change was pushed in secret without coordination between Geth and other development teams. I would say in secret is a bit strong in terms of language, but they definitely could have communicated better. They really, really could. This CoinDesk article actually goes really in depth, and it's pretty long. So I would hop down to the description and read it if you want to learn more about all the specifics related to this unannounced hard fork. It's quite the saga, but there's only so much time in the day. So let's hop to the next article and go from there. All right, so Chainalysis got a bit of an update, or they made public a bit of a change that they've launched, new service. Excuse me. So Chainalysis is launching a service that will help authorities track, custody, and sell cryptocurrencies associated with crime after their capture. Pretty interesting. The firm calls its initiative its Asset Realization Program. So basically, they have created an end-to-end solution for tracking, tracing, pre-seizure planning, handling, storing, realizing, and monitoring assets seized by law enforcement. Pretty interesting, because with this new program, they will be able to help clients in a number of ways, including filing and selling confiscated digital funds, bringing closure to the once illegally used assets, and legally flowing them back into the ecosystem. Look at that. You guys can potentially own crypto that was formerly used in illegal activities. I think this is a long time coming. It's going to help a lot of law enforcement agencies not make a profit, but offset the costs related to their operation and the amount of time and manpower it takes to complete these investigations and seize these funds. So the most recent example of this is a pretty high-profile one. Nearly $1 billion worth of crypto funds connected with Silk Road, which was a fairly infamous drug operation that was shut down 7 years ago. My assumption is the crypto wasn't worth $1 billion 7 years ago, but time and appreciation. But recently it moved address locations. The United States DOJ subsequently filed to wrest control of the funds from an identified hacker, which explains the wallet address move. Chainalysis worked with authorities on the case, according to a statement from Chainalysis. That's what happens when you move stuff around. But yeah, so this asset realization program, obviously they're going to be working with government agencies and other things, so that way they can start getting these funds back on the market. Now, this could actually negatively affect crypto prices because these funds will re-enter the circulating supply. But with the way people are buying up crypto right now, I don't foresee it affecting too much of anything. Then, kind of to wrap things up, just a little update on Cardano, which funnily enough is giving me BeefChain vibes right now. In a new article in the ADA forum, the Cardano Foundation has presented the Cardano blockchain-based solution, the BeefChain. God, I love crypto. BeefChain. All right. So reducing meat consumption is one of the easiest ways to combat climate change and protect the environment in the short term. However, a lesser known but equally important measure is to ensure that the meat comes from sustainable and responsible sources. Makes sense to me. So this is the approach that's being taken by the BeefChain. It's based out of Wyoming, which is in the USA. It aims to create an effective traceability solution for the cattle industry using the Cardano blockchain. In my mind, I think of how BeefChain is tracing, supply chains, coronavirus vaccines, cleaning protocols, and all that stuff on the blockchain. So they got a competitor in the space, it seems. So according to Hill, who wrote the article this is pulling from, there's a serious problem with fraud in the livestock and meat industry. I can see that. I know darn well, a pound of 80-20 beef, 80 ground beef, that's 80% meat, 20% fat, is normally between $3 and $5 a pound where I live, whereas 90-10 is normally 5 to 7. So if you can fudge the numbers, the average consumer isn't going to be able to tell the difference. To those of you who can, good, but not everyone will. Or you end up with 85-15 instead of 90-10. That adds up over hundreds of $1,000s a pound. So there is a decent market out there for fraud in the meat industry. The costs and prices of like grass-fed beef and intensively farmed beef can vary considerably, and there have been repeated cases in recent years of inferior meat being sold as high quality. To help prevent this fraud, the BeefChain implements a rancher-to-retail approach where the traceability starts at a level of an individual animal at a cattle breeder or farmer and can be traced through the entire supply chain to the end consumer, yet BeefChain's doing this exact thing. Oh boy, competition, here we come. BeefChain's technology is being tested on 1,600 calves as part of a partnership with 6 family farms in Wyoming. They're using RFID chips and Internet of Things devices to track and upload unique information about individual cattle to the blockchain for verifiable proof of the origin of beef products and all that fun stuff. Pretty interesting. They decided to work with Cardano because of IOHK's close connections with Wyoming, but also to leverage AtlaTrack's supply chain traceability solution, which is being built upon the Cardano blockchain. AtlaTrace empowers product owners to improve the visibility of their supply chain, bringing transparency to the end consumer, rewarding primary producers who are committed to quality. So there you go. Just another way that blockchain is going to potentially change and revolutionize supply chains. Darn interesting. But that will do it for the trending articles in the crypto news space. I do gotta say, I am happy to report that Bitcoin Bitcoin is $16,000 right now. That's right, it just clipped it. It's been clipping it a couple times, but it has maintained it for a little bit right now. So pretty darn nice. Ethereum is actually flat on the day, though I would assume that that would have something to do to the two articles we talked about prior to this. Otherwise, in the top 10, it's a little red today, but after the green week we had last week, it makes sense that there's some consolidation and price fluctuations going on. Bitcoin is actually up the most on the day, about 3%, and Chainlink is down the most, down 3%, but they're still up 16% on the week, so calm down. Biggest winner on the day, Blockstack. Yeah, never heard of it. It's up almost 22.5% though, so if you hold Blockstack, good for you. Biggest loser is Synthetics. It's down 12% on the day, but it's still up about 30% on the week, so nothing too crazy to report there. But yeah, this Bitcoin at $16,000 is something to keep an eye on. I'm going to refresh the page. It is still $16,064.99. I'm hoping that we get another push throughout the day so we can be in the mid 16s to maybe 17s. That would be, just pretty darn cool. But that will do it for the trending articles in the crypto news space and crypto top 10. My name is John. You can check me out on a podcast, on YouTube. There's a crypto top 10 Instagram. I don't update it as often as I should. I'll get better about that, I hope. But otherwise, I do appreciate everyone who has subscribed, and if you made it to this point, why not? It's really simple. It's just that button you click right there in the top, and make sure you're keeping an eye and checking out the description of the videos, because I do have a link to the article or all the article links themselves, so that way you can do your own research. I would definitely recommend reading up on Ethereum's unannounced upgrade. But yeah, I think that's all I got. So I'll be talking to y'all soon. Peace.